Ryan was asking here in the chat, what kind of main profile pic do you guys recommend?
Something Candid shots always do great for whatever reason. Candid shots work really, really well, even though
I use B-roll.
Everyone knows that Candid shots are 99% of the time not actually candid. They seem to work better. So, that's why getting a photographer that will come and hang out with you while you do stuff, or you get together with friends, or maybe, I had a guy that said, hey, like, what we did in Miami, we had guys like making cocktails and they took some photos of people doing stuff like that. Or, we just have guys come by when a guy would be shooting and just like cracking jokes, trying to get him to laugh and just kind of look natural. So, showing that you're in an environment that is fun and you're having a good time in a Candid shot always does kind of does way better than just straight on looking at the camera shots and stuff like that. So that's my number one tip is just do stuff that looks candid, but nothing that obscures your face. You want at least like a waist up photo, nothing too far away, no sunglasses. So the puppy thing is a little bit overblown, but a candid shot of you doing something fucking cool is the best advice that I would give.
Yeah, when you get a photographer, I normally tell them to start clicking through the roll, because now, back in the day, you only had, what was it, like 29, 30, I think 32 photos per roll. Then you had to drop it off at the pharmacy and then wait a few days and come back and turn in your ticket. And then half the photos are your thumb over the lens. That doesn't exist nowadays. With these digital cameras, you can click away. You can take hundreds of photos. So I tell the photographer to, if I'm getting into a pose type situation, especially like I do a lot of couple photos too with girls I date, because it's just a fun afternoon. Hey, let's go to some cool sites and do some couple photos. And I have photos for thumbnails for my YouTube or whatnot. But I tell them to start clicking as we're getting in the pose. And then once they say, okay, yeah, like you're done, then to click a couple more after that. Like my best natural expressions come right when I break the pose. When I try to pose, I look like I have an extra chromosome. But the minute the photographer is like, okay, we're good, that's a wrap, I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's awesome. And then they usually get a really good natural shot. And those are the ones I almost always end up using.
I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of a story of one of the best photographs that I saw personally, and it kind of summarizes what both Moff and Jaron were talking about. This guy was in our community a few years ago. Good dude. Looks a little bit like Colin Farrell, kind of down on himself, thought he had big ears, like didn't have like the best self-image of himself. And there was a shot that he started to use. I think he was standing at, I don't know, like a craps table or a blackjack table, but some kind of gaming table, and everybody was dressed to the nines. He was wearing either a tux or a suit that was fitted to his frame, so it looked good. He had a good physique, and he had a great smile on his face, a drink in one hand. He was like throwing the dice. It was kind of an action shot, and he had two girls on one side and a guy and another girl on the other side, and the guy was looking at him like he wanted to be him, and the girls were looking at him and the table like they wanted to be with him. And they were all attractive, right? That is probably one of the best shots that you get. Now, can you manufacture that? Sure. But like, Moff and Jaron were saying, if you're doing interesting things in your life and you want to get sort of better results with using apps like this, so you don't look like, let's see here, Dave the Chainsaw Guy from the Chainsaw Massacre, do cool things with your life. I mean, when women look at what you're doing, they're basically assessing the situation like, oh, I can see myself inserted in that photograph. Like, I want to be there with those people doing those things, because you can do anything you want to a woman except for bore her, right? So if you're doing interesting things in your life and you have captivating friends and they look good and they got style and it looks like you're doing something interesting, she's going to be more compelled to sort of dive deeper down that rabbit hole and, generate some sort of interest in you. So yeah, you can dramatically improve the results that you get when you take those, simple steps. I talk about more stuff in my book on the chapter on getting those results in the Unplugged Alpha. You can get that on Amazon. But there's a sequence of photos that you can look at, use after that. I talk about the mystery shot, the awe shot, the group of friends shot, all that stuff. So you guys can go check out the book. I mean, I know a lot of you have read it already, but grab it if you haven't. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like, what else should we cover? And I got like another 20, 25 minutes before I got to bounce. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about today?
I've got one more quick aside on that.
Mhm.
Moff skirted over it, but I think it's an important thing to note that these apps, yes, they're called dating apps, but they are targeted for women. So you need to understand who your target demographic is. That kind of sums up all the in-depth details we gave. But you can tell by those filters too. Like pay attention to them, fill them out, like do whatever. And the funny thing is, they're targeted towards women because they don't have options like for guys asking girls, are you down to come straight to the house on the first date, to smash on the first date, to spit, slap, do whatever. So the apps are obviously towards women, and you need to keep that in mind in terms of what women are looking for on the apps, because she'll disqualify things on the apps like, oh, he's 5'11". Well, in real life, most girls don't care about that. Or,
Mhm.
oh, he has this hobby. Well, once you actually meet her, she doesn't really care about that. So only put the information on there that's going to give you a leg up on the competition, but don't potentially put anything out there that might be a disqualifier for her. She's swiping through her stack.
Yeah, and be careful about your socials. Like we talk about this a lot. I mean, this recently just came up. There's a guy in the community that met a chick at a bar, and apparently, really into him, this and that. But then he got her, like, he didn't close the deal, and then got her Instagram or something like that. Hit her up a couple of days later, and she like went ghost on him. So, it's if you're an older guy that is going to be insistent on dating younger women, 20s and 30s, especially in the social media age. Like this stuff has to be buttoned up. Like you've got to have a tight social media game, because a lot of women, before they even swipe on you, they'll, if you got your Instagram link, they'll just go check out your Instagram first. Or, something that I've been experiencing with lately is not even using the dating app. Like I'll swipe on a chick, or I'll just get her Instagram directly from the app, and then I'll just hit her up on Instagram. But I can do that because I've curated it, and Jaron can do the same. We've curated our social profiles that are like, okay, cool. This guy is potentially somebody that does something that's worth this, that's got a social circle, that's got a group, and that's a big component that a lot of guys are missing, especially really high level successful guys that have great, interesting lives, but they're just dog shit at documenting it. They don't take photos, they don't take videos, they don't do anything like that to document their lives. And that's one of the easiest things that you can do to up your social proof and to let these women know that you're a guy that, hey, come into my world. My world's cool. But again, you can see the pictures those guys were posting, their first photos, like that's their highlight. This guy like doing chainsaw work, or this guy taking a selfie in his car with sunglasses on, or this dude standing by himself like at a wedding looking awkward. Like that's these guys' best shot. That's their highlight. So just got to get better highlights.
And the chick said it. It's like, dude, that's your best photo. Like
Yeah.
that is what you're using. Like that's your putting your proverbial best foot forward. And I'll echo that on the Instagram. A lot of guys come in like, okay, well, I've got the good Tinder pics now, or I've got the good Bumble pics, whatever app they're choosing to use. But when you get to Instagram does most of your heavy lifting for you. What the dating apps does, if you remember like the marketing principles, like AIDA, like attention, interest, decision, action. It's that
Attention,
first step.
interest, desire, action. Yeah.
Desire, action. Yeah. It's that first step. Tinder's just getting her attention, and then you have to build the interest. Your Instagram does that for you. So it's a powerful social proof tool. When she goes to the Instagram, she will dive into your photos. She'll look at the comments. She'll look at whatever. So if you have other hot chicks leaving like heart faces and kissy faces and in Spanish, like, que onda guapo, or stuff like that, girls are going to know that. And the follower count is a big one too. I had a guy when I first started my Instagram years ago. He's like, bro, like really work on building your followers. I'm like, oh, how do I do that? It's like, go out and meet people, like, or put out content that people want to share. I upload guitar reels every now and then. Those always get me a ton more followers. And they're usually hot chicks from Brazil. For whatever reason, people in Brazil like those. No one in Mexico or the US does. But what it does is it boosts my follower account. And this guy told me years ago, he's like, hey, once you hit 2,000 followers on Instagram, it's like the game just suddenly changes. That at the time, that's like the magic number where girls like, oh, this guy, he's interesting enough to where 2,000 people want to subscribe to see what he's up to in his just day-to-day life. And I think I'm at like 5,300 or something like that now. My Instagram does a lot of my work for me. Girls, I'll go on Tinder. My Instagram is right there. They'll just come right through to my Instagram. They'll start liking videos. They see I put my YouTube stuff on there, this type of content on there. And it does screen some out, but the girls that do end up coming over, like, hey, I watched a couple of your videos and like, you seem like you get it. Like you're a safe option in the sense that you're not going to be a weirdo. Like you talk about this stuff publicly, and at the time when I started posting this type of content, I thought, oh no, it's going to ruin my dating life. It has done the opposite. It's done a lot of my work for me.
Yeah, it'll filter out a lot of the ones that you really don't want any kind of a connection with anyway at the end of the day. I mean, you might push off some of the attractive ones, but who cares? I mean, if they don't, if they're going to have a problem with your opinion or what you're voicing, it's like, who cares? Whatever. There's going to be others. But yeah, social media is important. I mean, I've said this so many times, and guys, like there's this notion, for guys like, oh, that's too much work. Okay, then why are you complaining? Right? I mean, men compete, women choose. It's been that way for a million years. And if guys like Jaron or Chris are out there with, captivating lives doing cool shit, and they're going to, take a look at their social dating and their Instagram, and yours is, again, we'll go back to, Dave from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that's your Instagram feed. Guess who they're going to pick? And you can't get mad at them. Like, why would you get mad at these chicks for picking the guy that's doing stuff interesting, that, does stuff that with other interesting people that they want to insert themselves into? She doesn't want to hang out with Dave the Chainsaw dude, right? She wants to hang out with the guys that are doing cool stuff with their life. And it's just as simple as that. And if you don't want to compete, then you can't get mad at them for not choosing you. It's as simple as that. Hey guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that short clip. If you did, consider supporting the creation of content by checking out my supplement line. Pinned in the top comment below of this video in the comments, there's a link to the unpluggedalpha.com/shop. When you click through, you'll be able to land over here, and the entire lineup is broken down by category that it performs best in: estrogen metabolism, fat burning, your foundational essentials for health, immune health, performance, and testosterone support. If you check out with coupon code ALPHA10, you'll get 10% off on your first order. There's also the option to use the subscribe and save model, where regular shipments will be sent over to you on a regular basis, and that gives you a little bit of a discount, and your supplement facts are always broken down over here. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have an awesome day. And again, check out that link. It's pinned in the top comment below in this video. Peace out.